Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Piper Academy. I'm your host, Army Piper, coming at you every Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, bringing you guys the news, the markets, the charts, the economics, everything you need to have knowledge. Why? Because knowledge is profit. Thanks for joining us here today, guys. Got the new studio, still got the same background. Got to get some wood put on this wall behind me. Still got some work being done, but for the most part, we are up and we are live in this new studio. So, guys, without any further ado, I need to say this right off the bat, because if you guys saw the video we did last Friday, had about over 1,000 views on it. It's gotten a lot of traction, but it's gotten a lot of troll comments too. I just want to make this very clear, guys. This right here, not financial advice. You will not get this anywhere on the show. We were just going to tell you what we're doing, and we're going to point out stuff to you, but not financial advice. But every day we will try to bring you as much information as we can to give you guys what you need to know so that you can make your own decisions. So DYOR, do your own research. But hey, thanks for joining us here today, guys. A lot of movement in the markets. We had all of this stuff going on the past hour. Right now, you can see here OP up a little bit, Tau down, Hex up 3.5%. Not sure why. How that even still exists is beyond me. But to kind of look over here at what all we got going on, Render up 2.8%. If you guys take a look at the daily, lots of red still. Stacks up 15.8%. My injective bag and my stacks bag appreciate that. ICP up 8.5%. Still a lot of red, but if we take a look at the week is brutal over here, guys. So we're going to be jumping into the charts. We're going to be taking a look, getting a little bit of a rally this morning. But for the most part, guys, I do think that we have a lot of volatility this week with all the news we have coming in. So we're going to be keeping an eye on it, keeping a close eye on it. And we're going to go through it this morning, give you guys some news, give you guys some TA. So stick around. Appreciate you all being here. But I don't do this by myself. I've got a team that is here every day helping me get through this to bring you guys all this info. Let's go ahead and bring them up on the camera here. What's up, Trey Fly? What's up, OC Guy? How are you guys doing?
What's going on, guys? Stoked to be here. This weekend was brutally busy for me. Had drill, so still doing the military thing. But stoked to be here. Bitcoin's on the move. Got a lot of news to talk about. Just happy to see you guys. Thanks for being here.
Awesome. Awesome. OC, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing fantastic. Also had to work throughout a weekend. Nonetheless, it's just part of life. Also, give me the advantage to start looking at the indicators and also at the chart. So everything pretty nice, pretty nice. And getting ready to
Nice.
get started with an amazing Monday.
Yes, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Hey, shout out to everybody that's in the chat here with us. Appreciate you guys being here. If you guys are new to the show, go ahead and hit that like button and hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. It's right over there. Just hit that stuff on that side there. And you guys will get notified every time we go live, which is Monday through Friday, Eastern Standard Time. Plus, we got a lot of videos that are going to be coming up. We're going to be doing a whole lot of different content for you guys and try to keep you in the know. So let's go ahead without any further ado and let's get right on into some news today and see how we're looking on all of that stuff. So first off, right here on the bat, guys, looking at the CoinGecko, we're up $1.75 trillion. That is the market cap right now. If we look at the actual trade volume, though, for the past 24 hours, we're starting to get a little uptick. This was going downward. We have gone upward. We're getting a lot of money coming in. You can see Bitcoin reclaiming that $45,000 range there, up about 0.5% in the past hour, up 1.7% for the past 24. Ethereum up about 1.2 in the past 24%, but it's down for the past 7 days. You can see Bitcoin still up 5.7. A lot of bullish momentum going behind Bitcoin here on this ETF news. What else? We got big movers here. Let's see. Everything's kind of just slow and static in the past hour here. I think the biggest move we have would be like ICP at 1.4 here. We got a little 1.3 on Uniswap, 6.5 on Injective. So that's awesome to see. I gave a little note out on X this weekend about Injective, and it looked like it was going to do a breakout. Actually rejected on that trend line and pulled to the downside. But Stacks, guys, Stacks a big winner right now here on the top 30, which is 31, I guess. Take out Tether and USDC, it'd be in there. 8.4% here on the past hour, 13.9 for the past 24, and still up 31.7% for the week. Let's get over to liquidations and take a look what we got here. The past 24 hours, $230 million in liquidations in the past 24 hours. How many people got wrecked? In the past 24, it's 124,800 traders liquidated. Total, again, $230 million. Single largest liquidation order happened on OKX. It was on eSwap for a value of $2 million. So, yeah, horrible, 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 horrible. Looking at earnings reports for this week, this is a very anticipated week for earnings on stock side for my stock peoples. The biggest ones on here to note is going to be on Friday. We've got JP Morgan Chase over here. We've got Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citi, all the big banks, right? BNY Mellon up there in New York. But guys, BlackRock. BlackRock in the news several times this week. Got all this stuff here on the charts that on the news articles I'm going to show you. But it looks like BlackRock has their earnings reports on Friday, and then we also got that ETF news on BlackRock. So, and they might be laying some people off. So, big BlackRock and all their money, we'll see. We'll show you that here in a second, guys. Looking here at the economic calendar this week, the big one's going to be here on Thursday, January 11th. We got core inflation rate coming in month over month. Previously, we were at 0.3%. Consensus and forecast is that core inflation is going to drop 0.1%. So that's good. Inflation rate for the year over year, though, core inflation, sitting at 4 previously. It actually looks like this could come down 0.2% on consensus, 0.1% on the forecast there. And then moving on here down, we got the CPI data. Now, here's the big one, guys. I want to point this out. We've got 3.1% was the year over year inflation rate. So currently we're at 3.1%. Consensus, though, is that we are actually going to go up 0.1%. So that is something to keep an eye on. It could be bad if this goes up. If we show that we're gaining an inflation rate, it is going to be very likely that hype about rate cuts is going to start rolling back. Right now, March is getting less and less. It's looking like May is going to be the first time we see a chance at a rate hike. So, or at a rate cut, I should say. Moving on here, economic calendar. U.S. economic calendar meets crypto. Key week for CPI forecast, which we just talked about, and Bitcoin ETF decision. Key economic events this week include the release of the December Consumer Price Index, which could indicate if inflation is stuck. It's stuckflation at about 3% there. The Securities and Exchange Commission decision for ARK21 shares, spot Bitcoin ETF on Wednesday, December 10th, may influence those crypto markets. So, a series of bank earnings calls, which we just all put out there, also coming in on Friday. And then this week's economic calendar, I want to see what it's saying here on the CPI. However, things may get interesting on Thursday when they publish the December Consumer Price Index report. The CPI figures are the highlight of the week's economic calendar. This reports assist the markets in assessing whether inflation will continue its downward trend or if it's going to stall near that 3%. CPI is forecast to rise about 0.2% in December. So with such an increase in consumer prices, would not be too large. However, it would halt some of the recent progress on inflation, which is what we just said. So there you go. Little article affirming what I was reading. So the Kabisi letter here, interest rate cuts expectations in 2024 are down. So we were actually pumping here. If you look here, it said continues to feel like expectations will be a letdown in 2024. The Fed's latest guidance shows half the number of rate cuts this year compared to investor expectations. So currently 5.5 on the forecast is what is forecasted by the investors, but it looks like that is about twice as many as what the Fed is saying that they're actually going to do in the year. So let's see what else we got here. We've got ETF approval nears. Guys, we know this. Experts predicting 95% chance of a success rate of getting this ETF passed through, right? So when we're looking at this is just more noise on top. Hey, look, it's still coming. Yeah, but when is the big question that we ask here, right? Too long didn't read on here. Bitcoin ETF approval anticipation is high. Experts predicting 95% chance on January 10th. Caution persists amid optimism that the SEC rejection could affect young investors. Absolutely, it could. And Biden administration intervention is possible if the ETF is denied. So let's come over here to this trio cam and let's talk a little bit about ETF stuff, because I think it's very interesting that we could see Biden jumping in and doing an intervention if it's denied. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Let's go.
So not yesterday, Saturday. Come on, Friday. We were talking about the things, and I was talking about it's not about the ETF getting approved. It's about the
And you're frozen there, OC.
Hey, we lost them. But
Go
it
ahead,
sounded
Trade
like
Fly. What you got, bro?
he said he was going along the lines of there's a process to happen, right? And we understand that. So it's going to be slow moving. It's the government. We all, I think, understand that. So I think he's starting to come back. But, other than
Oh, she
that,
come
I
back?
mean,
It's a song.
yeah, hey, have no fear though. I don't know if you guys are watching Twitter. Ben Armstrong is headed out there personally to make this happen like no other person could. So be be
What a
be
tool.
strong, friends.
Uh,
He's got
what a
you. He's
tool.
got you. But seriously, yeah, it's going to be a process, and we understand that. They just got the amended as the S1 filings just turned in. So, again, I think it's going to happen. I just don't know that it's going to happen right now. I think it's just going to take some time, and I like you said, and like we talked about last time, it's gonna be when we least expect it. So,
Mhm.
I think you're gonna see probably a dip in price at some point. Everybody's gonna be like, "We're tired of waiting," kinda like Cardano, and then all of a sudden it's gonna pump. So and then it's gonna get
Absolutely.
approved. That's kinda what I'm banking on personally. I don't think we're gonna be able to completely front run this and be like, "Oh, it's pumping," and then you get the news, and then it pumps some more. I think it's gonna be when we're just not ready for it, but it's coming. It's coming.
Give it time. Just breathe in, breathe
That's
out,
it.
right? Oh, see, we lost you there in the middle of your stream, but I think Trade Fly wrapped it up for you. Did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
No, that's fine. That's basically what I wanted to say. Thank you so much, Red Flag, for picking it back up when I disconnected. But yeah.
He's got you. He's got your back, man. All right, let's move ahead here to the news, guys. Satoshi Nakamoto randomly sent 26 Bitcoin this weekend. Not sure if you guys saw this or not, but a user recently sent 26 Bitcoin to Satoshi Nakamoto's wallet, sparking speculation about the motive behind it. So, predictions by U.S. lawyer Jeremy Hogan suggest that it was an attempt to compel Satoshi Nakamoto to reveal his identity. So, you guys all know we talked earlier last week, I believe it was. We were talking about this IRS regulation mandating the reporting of crypto transactions exceeding $10,000. We were talking about that. You guys remember? So this would actually force Satoshi Nakamoto, but I don't know why they would do 26 Bitcoin. That's a little extreme. They only needed to do one Bitcoin would have done that. But yeah, someone move that over there into his wallet, and by the new law, by the new rules out there, Satoshi Nakamoto, or they, them, him,
Uh,
them, they would have to report with date of birth and everything else to the IRS. So that is what he's speculating was the purpose of this. This might be someone that goes way, way, way back in this whole chain of the people that created Bitcoin, or the person that created Bitcoin, as T-Shroom was discussing the other day with TA Tim on their show. Shout out to him, by the way, here in the chat. Biomex in the chat we got here. Who else we got? Elo Brown. I saw Otter. I saw the Otter gang in here, the whole Otter gang in here hanging with us earlier. So, but yeah, they were talking about it last week of him or them or they. Evidently, Satoshi Nakamoto is a pronoun now. So, but they were talking about, if this could be, this individual would have to come forth and identify themselves with this new law or face a felony charge. So interesting. I just don't know why it would be 26. I think it might have been someone that's way back in this whole Bitcoin creation thing, because those people were getting like 50 Bitcoin in rewards,
yeah.
like per blockchain created. So
I'll
very
I'll say
possibly one of those
two
people.
two
So
things on that. You hit on one of them. You didn't need to send 26 BTC. And 2, this dude's probably not a United States citizen, so he's not gonna
probably
be
not.
subject to
Probably not.
that. So, yeah,
Probably not. Absolutely.
that's yeah.
Absolutely. You could have sent one over there to force that and sent 25 more
Yeah.
to the address that I'm going to drop bullet. No.
There it is.
There we go. Let's get in here. Looking here. JP Morgan strategist, speaking of Joe Biden, who may have to get involved with this ETF denial. JP Morgan strategist predicts that Joe Biden will drop out of the 2024 race here. He says that it most likely will be because of health reasons. But Michael Cymbalis said Biden's withdrawal could happen sometime between Super Tuesday and the November elections. Biden's candidacy has been beset with concerns over his low approval ratings and advanced age. But I thought Bidenomics was the next greatest thing. Speaking of JP Morgan predictions, guys, JP Morgan predicts that the Chinese yuan could dethrone the US dollar. So let's get into this real fast. And I know OC wanted to have a little chit chat about it. JP Morgan forecasts the Chinese yuan might replace the US dollar as the dominant global currency. The BRICS bloc is actively promoting the use of local currencies, including the yuan, to reduce the dollar's global dominance. And increased use of the yuan in international trade including significant agreements like the $7 billion China Saudi Arabia currency swap is evidence of the shift. So let's jump over here and talk about this real fast. I know that if you guys haven't been tracking on China's economy is dropping big time. But just yesterday on the news, because yes, when I'm driving around in my car on a Sunday, I listen to CNBC News and Bloomberg News, and they were talking about there are indicators that the Chinese economy is about to bottom out. So, if that is the case, we could see a rally of China's economy coming back to the upside. But the biggest reason is because they have a lot of disinflation. There's not a lot of demand, and so they're not producing a whole lot in China. And that disinflation, guess where they're sending all their excess stuff that they don't need? To the United States. Their number one export right now in China, disinflation. So that will turn their economy around while stabilizing ours with more goods, because less demand and more goods lowers inflation, right? So it's kind of a cycle that's good for us, but at the end of the day, it's also going to bottom out their economy and send them on a rally. So yeah, JP Morgan predicting that it will grow over the US dollar. Of course, if you look at where we are in global reserve currency, China way, way, way below us in its presence around the world. So Caleb
There's a
Franzen
couple
made a
things with that too. Like one, if you want something that's going to be that underlying currency, you want it to be stable. So you would have to see that pump and some kind of stabilization before you said, "Hey, yeah, we're going to use the yuan as that go-to currency right now." So is it growing? Are they getting a little bit more backing? Probably, just because they're discontent with the U.S. and our economy isn't the greatest. But think about one of their biggest industries in China is actually real estate. So go look at that, and you will see that that is an absolute shambles right now. So I don't see that anywhere in the near future, maybe long term. That could
Evergrande.
happen, maybe in our lifetime, but right now, nah, I don't see it.
see what you got, brother.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, in terms of prices against US dollar, that could be something. But in terms of global currency, I don't think that's gonna happen soon, as Trifline mentioned, in our lifetime, unless they start doing something radical changes on their economical system, because they have something that in the states that we could be comparing to CBDCs, which is a digital yuan, right? Or yuan. But the important part here is that they do practice restriction against their citizens, and whoever uses that digital currency, if they get caught talking against the regime or something, they get banned for buying foods, renting some places, getting education in some schools, so on and so forth. So if you keep that throughout the global system, well then I don't think that's gonna be like a good looking thing happening across the globe, right? I certainly would not be jumping into that. I mean, I know big companies are not susceptible to that, but nonetheless, we're going to be seeing that despite they could be trading on yuan, they're going to be exchanging to something else. And that, what is that next something else? I believe that is going to be the US dollar. Nonetheless, still, that is kind of like the more favorable, I don't know, side of the coin. The least favorite, which is I believe that it's what's going to happen, is yes, they're going to be improving their economy. Yuan is going to be climbing up, but it's not going to be replacing petrodollar anytime soon.
I got an idea.
Absolutely. I agree with
How about
that. What's up,
how
Trey
about
Fly?
Bitcoin? How about we use Bitcoin?
Bitcoin? Sure, why
There it
not? Let's
is.
go with that. I like that idea. Isn't
How
that
about
the entire intent
cryptocurrency?
of it? So
Yeah,
Caleb Franson brought up a very good point one time on Investing Bros show, and he said, he travels all over the world. He's in that economic world, that institutional finance world, right? And he said, traveling all over the world, he has noticed that he can pretty much do business anywhere that he goes. Because why? He speaks English. Chinese is not the language of business in the world, which gives you an idea of how far ahead of China the US is in international business, which then drives the valuation or the necessity for US dollar as an international reserve currency, right? So, as long as that is the case, I don't think that the US dollar has anything to worry about. But let's finish up these last couple of articles here. Let's get into some charts. I want to give a shout out to Crypto Wars. That is Debate Crypto, formerly over there. They're now Crypto Wars, and they're in the chat right now. It's Crypto Keeper, Crypto Crusader, one or the other, probably Keeper that's in there. But I'm going to be going live today on their show in a brand new trade competition. So be watching on X for me to drop that link. If you guys don't know where that link is, where that is, it's right there. You can just follow me at Army Piper and we'll get that in there. So let's get over here though, guys. Get into these last two articles. BlackRock announces plans to axe 3% of its workforce. And I know that don't sound like a lot, but when you think about how many people they have, guys, BlackRock is going to axe around 600 workers. So notably, BlackRock is reportedly optimistic about receiving favorable news from the US SEC concerning its spot Bitcoin exchange traded fund ETF, not an NFT, as my boy TA Tim kept saying the other day on the show. The company expects the SEC to approve its Bitcoin ETF application on January 10th, coinciding with the regulatory deadline there for ARK 21 shares. But I just want to talk about this real fast because while this is a headline, this is not always fully true. Let's go with that word. It's sometimes it's half truth, right? Like for example, we had Microsoft and Google did a whole bunch of job cuts back mid like third quarter last year, but the whole purpose of that was so that they could shut down a division to start up a new division that was going to be working on their AI development. So they actually added, Microsoft at least added more jobs than what they actually cut. So so a lot of times they just go, hey, we're cutting these jobs, but they don't look at the rest of it and say we're adding this entire division back into it. So we'll have to wait and see on what that is. But I think there's a company worth as much as BlackRock is worth. Don't necessarily ever have to cut jobs. They could just retrain people. God forbid you invest in your employees in this world. And lastly, guys, the headline here: Chainlink whales are making massive buys. Will Link price rally? And we're going to be taking a look at this chart today. Chainlink whales becoming more active again, but price reversal might not come as soon as expected. Why? Because it's Chainlink and it just moves that way, guys. Chainlink whales are pushing their limits as we spotted a significant accumulation on change. Fresh wallets potentially under the control of a single entity. So somebody out there has way more Chainlink than me, TradeFly, OC, and Crux of Crypto combined. They withdrew approximately 1.2 million, almost 1.3 million Chainlink, valued at about $17.5 million from Binance in just a 3-day period. This significant accumulation raises a question: is a Link price rally on the horizon? So, analyzing the Link USDT chart, there is an observable ebb and flow in Chainlink's market valuation. Recently, Link traded around its crucial juncture, about the 50-day exponential moving average there. This level often acts as a dynamic support and resistance, and we're going to be looking at our chart, seeing what we can see on there. But I wanted to get into that. Guys, you got anything to talk to the people about? Anything to put out here? Go for it.
Not a whole lot, man. I know that one article I was looking at was the spot Bitcoin ETF, the fees, but we don't have to really bring that up. But big thing there, we can just kind of talk to it, is a lot of the ETFs, when they did the amended S1s, they actually lowered their fees. So it's becoming a little bit of a competition. It's getting a little more competitive because they want to bring people over. And the more people they bring over, the more money they're going to get from the fees. However, I would tell you to do a little research on that. And when you're looking at that, if you're looking at an ETF vice going to an exchange like Coinbase or so, or Binance, even then it's even cheaper. The maker and taker fees are substantially cheaper than some of the fees for the ETF. So just understand that. And I would say it'll take you the same amount of time talking to some financial advisor when you're doing your investments as just setting up an account. So, I would
Absolutely.
still push for you to do it through. I wouldn't even say an exchange. I would say take your stuff off of the exchange if you can. But if you're comfortable with keeping it on Coinbase, there's ways to protect your money there. So just
Very
want to throw
true.
that out there.
Very true. Let's go ahead and jump over to the charts then at that juncture. Unless you got anything, OC, you got anything?
No, let's jump into the charts. I think something interesting is it's happening in the charts, and that's gonna be
Oh,
worth taking
he's
a look at it.
excited. Spaghetti
let's do
time.
it. Let's do charts. I'm jumping over here to Army charts if it will go. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it the old way. Look, see, I got this new setup going here, and now nothing wants to work for me. So let's jump over into my charts here and let's take a look at what we got going on with Bitcoin.
Well, I think I
There we
see a
go.
head and shoulders forming right behind you. So
Yeah, there's a head
you
and
got that
shoulders
going.
forming behind me, but not on the charts, guys.
Yeah.
Taking a look here on the markets this morning, we do have the ES1 getting a little bit of movement up. NASDAQ futures coming to the upside also this morning. US 30, that's going to be your Dow Jones, down about 0.4% on the market open today. I am going to be watching closely on CleanSpark here today, guys. Looking at CleanSpark, it is getting some downside movement here, getting near that dynamic reactor, though. So we might be getting that little bounce on that dynamic reactor, giving us some support. Keep an eye on that for our Bitcoin miner fans out there. And then looking at Bitcoin, guys. So we had this thing here. We had broken above the dynamic of the 887 here on the platinum pocket. Previously pulled back in, and that was back on January 3rd that we pulled down there. We got all this bounce and support down here, even though we wicked. We got all of our candle closes in the dynamic reactor. Very powerful moving average tool that we have here. There's also a trend line here. You can see this yellow trend line, and it's kind of running right there, and that is where we wicked down to. Sorry, I'm not an artist, so that line was not very straight at all. But interestingly enough, what we're seeing right now is we have broken that 887, and we are now up to $44,854 as we speak right now, breaking above that $45,000 line earlier for about $45,200. But what I'm seeing on the oscillators right now is that we did get a bounce on the zero line down here on the Oscillator Pro. We also were starting to come down, and I thought we were going to come down to this 30% level and do like we did back here, but we did not make it down to the dynamic reactor, did not get that RSI prime down to there. Gave us a little fake out. And this morning, the markets just absolutely took off. Yesterday, Jenna X was on her X saying, I cannot wait for the Asian markets to open up and please come save us. And then I said, we need an Asian hero. Yes, that is what happened. The Asian markets pumped the prices back up before market open today. So shout out to them. Shout out to all of the DGens across all of the Asian countries. We appreciate you. But right now, guys, we are pumping, trying to pump up back to that $45,000 range, rejecting right at it. Signal line still moving up. It's looking pretty decent for Bitcoin right now. And then I'm just going to go right into Chainlink. We're going to talk about this and see what we have for levels. And then I'm going to start passing it around. Round robin time for TA. Let's go. Looking here at Chainlink, guys, on the 4 hour, we do have a downside movement. We lost the money flow point of control here over here this last Wednesday on January 3rd. We had a strong sell signal, down it comes, and now we have started to create lower lows and lower highs. That is what we're watching here. However, what they're talking about on that thing was that movement, because when if you go back and you look, this is a pretty key range that we're in right here for us to get that candle close and start bouncing back up. If you look at where that's at, we got it here. We had a lot of play there. This is a good area for Chainlink to get another bounce back up. Another thing to watch here is we did have the uptrend here on the oscillator and on this 30, below that 30% move on the RSI prime there. Let's go ahead and look at this on like a daily. Actually, let's look at this on a 3-day and see what we're seeing here. If you look at this on a 3-day, we do have these exponential moving averages down here, and I've got them set on the weekly right now, but let's go ahead and move these over and put them on a daily, and I'll show you what they were talking about on that article that we were just looking at. If you take a look here, give me a little load in, please. Thank you very much. There we go. We broke down and we hit this 100. This yellow line right here is the 100-day weekly moving average. That is where we have gotten support. And if you go back and look at our previous levels here, it is the 50 and the 100 is where we normally have our resistance. There it is on the 300, but you can see here, it had to get above that 100 to get support. It came back and retested it. And if you look back here, the 50 and the 100, again, where we get those supports. So looking at this, where we are now, can you move for me? Thank you, TradingView. Appreciate you. If you look at where we are now, we are right in line with that retest there on that 100 moving average, looking like we could get a rally. If we do pull back, watch for that level. It's going to be about $12.98. And I'm going to be looking for, if we do retest that again, probably prime for a rally, especially when you look at the curvature that's starting to happen here on the Oscillator Pro ribbon here. That is going to give us that little ribbon twist, and that is going to give us that bounce up. So let's go. Chain link to my link, all of my link Marines out there. Got to put the hat on. There you go. There you go.
Let's go.
OC trade fly. Let's get you guys into some charts. OC, you said you had something. We're going to start with you today, and then we'll kick it over to trade fly.
Absolutely perfect. So let me get started with ADA. So Cardenso, right here on the charts. Basically, guys, you're gonna be figuring something out, which is many of the icons has exact same charts. In fact, whenever we already have seen Chainlink, and we will be seeing almost exactly in Cardano and many other things, right? So let's take a look at what happened here. It's not about a breakout, it's about the retest. We have that beautiful retest below the dynamic reactor, and off we go. Let me bring up my spaghetti here. So bear with me here, just so you remember what we were expecting as a possibility, which was a possible Wyckoff retracement, or sorry, range, because we have this big absorption zone, and then I was expecting maybe an increase in consolidation score. But what happened, that consolidation score did not happen on time, and it's happening as we speak. So let me bring up my spaghetti here so you can see a little bit better. And then remember, we were looking at this area as an important area. Let me get started by removing a couple things here. All right, so the first thing that we're going to be noticing, it is that we broke through, and I was hoping or expecting for a little bit of that movement in here, and then a rollback as we had a movement to the upside, like this one, either bouncing from the dynamic reactor or breaking through that dynamic reactor. That would be expected as we break above the zero line or bounce from the zero line in here. So what is the next thing that happened? Well, then we bounced from the zero line, and we did not found support right here. So we broke through, we retest, and we continue our way down. Why was I looking at those areas? Very simple, because we had the VPVR spike somewhere around here and in here. So far, if we keep moving downwards, let me show you what am I looking. The first thing is this area, not only because we have this accumulation of candles, but also if I start turning on my smart support and resistances, and let me now clear everything up here, so you'll see where is the most of those confluence. All right, so I'm going to be drawing a new trend line in here for me to follow, and as long as I don't break this trend line to the upside, I will continue expecting a movement to the downside. So there's two things I'm going to be looking for: a double bottom at this area, or a continuation to this area, to now then look at my oscillator and start expecting for a possible breakthrough that zero line. All right, so remember, as we are off that zero line, look at that, what happens until we break down. Here we go. We usually, or we mostly, move to the upside. All right, especially see
All right. Especially seeing whatever OC was talking about there. OC, you having issues? You got it. You froze on us, bro. You said especially when we see, and then it stopped.
No, I believe that I was on, especially when we see it reaching all the way down here, or when we break above the zero line. That is the key point there. Breaking above the zero line, finding double top, double bottom, or reaching into this high confluence zone at 0.41 section, somewhere around there.
Nice, nice. Perfect. Yeah, that's a good chart right there. I do think that Cardano, I think a lot of the alts, but Cardano, it tends to get really, really harsh pullbacks, but it also gets really crazy pumps. So not financial advice, but good DCA opportunity there, in my opinion, with that pattern that it's got going on. Trade Fly, let's kick it over to you, and let's keep it moving here, man. Let's get some TA. It's TA time. Let's go.
Alrighty. All right, first thing I'm gonna look at is Bitcoin, right? Because I always like to give the opposing view, looking at Bitcoin, and more of a zoomed out daily kind of look. So a top down look. One thing I want to point out to you guys is this channel. It's an ascending channel here. You can see it's up and right. And I drew this vertical line here because I want you to see when we actually entered into this channel. It's been 2 months. All right, so over 2 months. So what I want to point out and what I want you guys to do is just keep an eye on this channel. All right. That's all I'm going to say. So I won't say how to play it. You do your own thing, but you can see how many times we've tested it as support as it's gone up and right. And, you know, that for me is some areas that I would get interested in potentially looking at a long position. But the other thing, contrary to that, that I want to point out to you is coming down and looking at the prime oscillator, essentially RSI. And now what you can see here ever so slightly, you see price going up. and you see the RSI coming down, right? So to me, all I'm going to say there, I'm not going to say that means price is going to come down, but it's showing a little bit of weakness and the potential that maybe we could top out here and potentially break out of this formation. That's just kind of, I'll say be on alert for it, but at the same time, keep this channel in your, we'll say, scan. All right, so take a look at that. As you can see here, there is the 236 that has been acting as support as well. But I just want to point that out to you. This channel right here specifically, I put it on my Twitter as well. I actually had drawn a trend line, and then Piper had pointed out this channel to me, and I was like, oh, it pretty much lines up together. So the channel I like better because you can see it is providing some support and resistance within that channel as well. So just wanted to point that out to you. And then let's get over to Matic. All right, over to Matic. Now, I've been listening to like Wyckoff. I'm trying to get a little bit smarter on that. Now, one of the things that I'm seeing here on Matic, and I would say it's kind of lines up almost. If you look at distribution here, you can see right here, you got your buying climax, then you have your up thrust, and then your up thrust after distribution, right? So looking at that, I try to say, okay, what does that look like on the chart? Can I line it up, right? So you would see potentially accumulation in this area right here, right? Then you have your up mark or your mark up, and you get up here into this area, and then you would have distribution. Now, I'm not saying that necessarily this is, going to play out, but I just want you to see how close it actually lines up with what I was looking at on the Wyckoff, right? So it kind of made sense. You get that little pullback here, but this is when we say, all right, we take this theory and then how do we apply it into some of the traditional TA that we use, something like the Fibonacci retracement tool. All right, so Fibonacci retracement tool from bottom to top, you can see it came down to about you got that wick off the golden pocket right there, right? So now we've come down again and we still haven't actually closed underneath of the dynamic reactor. So that's two important things I would say keep an eye on. And then when you come down here and you look at the MVP oscillator, you can see that we are now showing a bottoming, right? So potential for a bottom here. It could be an area just looking back and left. You see support all in this area and the golden pocket. That could be a nice setup for a potential long area or long entry if you kind of missed the boat on Polygon initially when it pumped up to $1.
Yeah, I 100%, dude. That is like spot on. I had Matic up here looking at it, and I was like, that golden pocket looked very supportive. It was a safe space for it there. It had its open arms, like, come here, let me
Yeah.
hold you for a second, and then launch you back out of here. Yeah, and plus the MVP, good call on MVP. I did not look at that, given that bottoming out indication there on that. So good calls on all of that stuff, man. Let's go ahead and let's get over here and check out something else that I see here on the charts. I'm looking here at Render, guys. Render here getting about an almost 10% move this morning. Touched perfectly here on its trend assistant and is getting that upside. We do have this, stop loss trigger here. So what happens here, if you guys don't know, we had our buy indicator come in. We took, take profits, and then it started to pull back. That's what this is here, saying, hey, you should probably take your stop loss, trailing stop loss indication, right, and get out. We did have that, which means downside. However, when I look at this and I see that we just hit the trend assistant, got a nice bounce up. We also are sitting right here in the bullish zone, getting that curvature going on, and we're in that 30% line. What I'm watching for is on the Ichimoku oscillator here for the signal line to get a zero line bounce to the upside. If we get that, I would think that this is going to continue on, but keep in mind right here, about $4.34. We do have a money flow point of control. This is where a majority of all of the money, I just hit my microphone, not just having a mic stand here. With a majority of that money coming in and coming out, the money flow index, that is the point of control, the level at which it occurred there. So we do have that coming in there at about $4.33. Real quick look at Injective here, up 13.5% today. We are I have my old strategy on here that I showed you guys. We hit that golden pocket and it came up. We're take profit 1, take profit 2. We're back at take profit 3. And the other day on the 4 hour, I pointed this out on the show and said, hey guys, we've got a little action going on here. And it looks like we could be getting a breakout. Well, that trend line that it was doing, and let me go ahead and just draw it on here for you. That trend line that it was doing was like this. Okay. Well, you can see that we had a fake out on it where I pointed out on X, the picture that I posted on X. Actually, Chart Prime's already got one on there too. Look at that, beautiful. Chart Prime's auto printed trend line there was like this. So we'll go with that. That actually looks a lot cleaner. Anyways, we had a nice fake out there that broke out above it. And then it pulled back in and rejected down. You can see it closed on the dynamic reactor. So was a good look at it, but we looked for a retest, and that retest would have failed. We would not have taken this as a long. And then it came down, hit that dynamic reactor. From there, we have bounced back up. And if we take a look at what's going on right now, let's go ahead and take my blue arrow off of Injective. My call on Saturday playing out on Monday because now we have broken it and we are now up at that negative 0.618. Full run target for on this, guys, just so you're tracking, is up at $52, but that is going to be very dependent upon Bitcoin price action this week given the ETF data. So that's what I had for Injective and Render OC. Let's kick it over to you, bro.
Absolutely. So I'm looking at Johnson and Johnson. This is for Kafib that was yesterday, or sorry, the Friday show here, and he wanted to take a look at a couple of more different assets, more classical. So very very quick in here. Let me show you that we are in Johnson and Johnson making that little range in there. We are above the dynamic reactor, and very important, very very important. We are about to probably either make or break that bounce that we are hoping for. So the clock is ticking in that range. I do expect for us to maybe break above or a bounce above because we are above that zero line, and it seems that we are very bullish. We are in a buy signal, and I'm gonna be keeping a close eye on this range here. If it breaks below, I'm gonna be waiting for that retest, and now if we go to the dynamic reactor and the VPVR section in here, and if we break above, I'm gonna be looking for that continuation to the next possible level that it's going to be somewhere around this area here, somewhere around 163 for Johnson and Johnson. So that's what I got. Turning it back to you guys, and yeah.
All right. I got XRP up.
You got XRP. Let's go, bro. Let's
I
go.
do. All right. So first
Hey,
thing I'm
real
looking
fast
at
while
right
you're
here.
setting that,
Yeah,
real fast while you're
go
setting
ahead.
that up, though, I want to give a shout out to Crypto Poyo. Cluck cluck. Just gotta say
There
that.
it is.
Gotta say it when I see him, man. Cluck cluck.
I think I saw Investing Bros in here too, man. There's all kinds of Jenny, a lot of people in here.
That's the
ZTS,
Jenny from the
Ninja Croc,
blockchain, my
French
boy. Yeah,
Toaster. Let's give them all
yeah.
shout outs. Let's go.
All of them. Y'all get shout outs. Thanks for joining us here today, guys. Man, we appreciate you all. Trade Fly, you know what I appreciate from you? Great TA. Kick it, bro.
Yeah, we'll see about that. I'm learning, everybody, just so you know. All right. So appreciate the opportunity to come here and show you what I don't know. All right. So looking at the support level here for XRP. All right. See the screen line? Yeah. See the screen line here acting as support, right? So that shows that it was kind of in an uptrend. It's kind of continuing that uptrend up and right till we break that support level. I'm not going to say much else. Are we losing weakness? This is where some of the TA comes in, right? So you're looking at this pink line here. That's kind of your resistance. You can see it's kind of down and right, which is really getting us into this symmetrical type pattern. You can also see right here the golden pocket, right? So we did get a wick down to the golden pocket. It did find support there. I do like seeing these extended wicks. That usually tells me that people are willing to buy. But it also, for me, understanding that a lot of people are looking at this area. People are getting smarter, I think. All right. So people are getting smarter in terms of recognizing a golden pocket. And I think they're just putting, purchase orders or long entries there in that area. And that's why we see those wicks up. I could be wrong, but it's just a theory that I have. So now you're looking right here at the 0.5, right? You can see it was holding support, but it was got it into kind of a descending triangle. So it was losing strength and then it broke down and we broke down to the 618. Well, now we're having an opportunity here. It hasn't quite established itself on the MVP oscillator, but we are, I think, going to start printing a bottoming, indication here. You'll start seeing those green bars come in, just kind of looking at it and looking, historically what it does in that area. I think we might start printing that. And then looking at the RSI, it is getting into the oversold area, which means it should theoretically, and this is on the daily, so it's a little bit stronger, should start bending back up. So when it bends back up, and I think we may continue down probably to golden pocket here and kind of get a retest in that area. So I'm looking at about 51 cents to 53 cents. And then that's probably where I would be looking for a long entry. But again, keep your eye on this resistance level here. So it could be a short play anywhere from the 618 up to the zero point 0.5 where there's resistance again. That's kind of how I like to play the market. I like buying at, a smaller support level and then going up to the next resistance level. And that's usually where I'll exit. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for XRP. You guys got anything on that?
I don't have anything on XRP, but I do want to pull up a chart here that I'm looking at, guys. Just looked over, just taking a look at what the total market sentiment right now. And this is Bitcoin dominance, guys. Bitcoin dominance is back up to 54% right now. A lot of this sell-off that happened this weekend on the altcoins, when they bled, man, they were bleeding hard, very, very hard. That has given Bitcoin quite a move back up to the upside. You can see here in this money flow area that we were in here in consolidation for a while down in that $53 range there, or 53%, $53, 53% range. And now we have pumped back up. We did get a test down here on the dynamic reactor before that run, giving us a nice little bounce retest there. But right now, if you take a look at the hourly, we're doing a little consolidation on a trend line here. And I am expecting that if we don't break this green trend line, that we're likely going to be heading back up to this 54.51%. Why do I have that in there? Well, that was a range that goes back quite a ways here. Obviously here we had a little breakout in December, but that was a previous range of resistance there. So we're going to be coming back to test that again, about 54.5% on that Bitcoin dominance. So be keep an eye on that. I speculate that if this ETF does get any indication of approval, that this Bitcoin dominance is going to crush the altcoins, not price wise, but in dominance wise. Remember, Bitcoin can pump, altcoins can stay static and just stay there, not really even sell off, and still dominance can go up. So I wanted to point that out. OC, what you got, brother? I'm gonna kick it back to you.
Absolutely. So I got Pyth, and also I have ICP. I think I'm gonna be going very fast through both of those, because they usually get a ton of interesting value here. So let me show you here that we have an ongoing trend line here going to the downside. We are almost breaking through that zero line, so that is very interesting. If we can make it above the zero line and maybe make that retest, there is a high possibility that we go like that and go visit the high volume zone, which is a dynamic reactor next to that VPVR section. Let me see if I had something in here. Yes, we have the bottom of that channel, and very worrying, we are making some pressure to the downside of that channel. Let me clear this up so we can maybe see it a little bit better here. So this is the center of the channel here. As you can see, that is the high confluence zone, and that's going to be hard to break. So possibly if we get there, maybe just wait for that breakthrough retest, and then off we go before going jam on this section here. Very worrying. We also need to be breaking through that zero line to keep moving upwards here. So I look a little bit bearish for Pyth. We can see it on a prime score, and consolidation score is still rising. If we can see something around 5 consolidation score and maybe see a double bottom, well, then that's when I'm going to be considering jumping into my possible next long. I know we're bearish, but I believe that that could be a nice reversal area. ICP, on the other hand, we're bouncing from the dynamic reactor. We are very bullish. Nonetheless, we are below the zero line here on the oscillator. So just guys, to give you the heads up, possibly we could be making a dead cat bounce. This is not for sure, but look at the VPVR section in here. That is telling us that, or this spike, this is telling us that we're going to be having some resistance there. And then if we start looking at, for example, our support and resistances, well, then we see the same area right here for a resistance. So if you are planning to continue in this trade, which I would not be taking, and I guess this is not financial advice, I'll first want to see breaking through that zero line, and then also making it through that resistance section there, or a
And
pullback for
there
a
we go.
continuation.
RC, you had a slight pause there right at the end, but I think you got it all out there, bro. Um,
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and pull
Jesus.
up Injective here, and then I'm going to let you wrap out the last of TA there, Trade Fly. You can If there's any request in the chat there that you wanted to get to or anything like that, I want to give a shout out to Lunar Beach Crypto, though, LBC Dave in here, always helping me out. If you guys didn't go check out that video that I was talking about at the beginning of the show today, Lunar Beach Crypto went in there and trolled back. He's quite the troll over there in Tennessee. So shout out to him. Let's get in here, take a look at stacks, guys. Look at it, stacks. We did get this pullback over the weekend here. On Sunday, we had a nice check right here on this long-term trend line. Well, not long-term, but auto-printed trend line from Chart Prime's indicators here. It came up and said, hey, we got a nice trend here that we're running on. We got a retest of that trend. And then we also hit that dynamic reactor, also that money flow index. So multiple confluence there for support. Before this bounce up, you can see that we had a nice little pullback here on the phase 2 golden pocket. If you're wondering what the hell is Piper talking about on phase 2 golden pocket, well, it's an extension based on trend. So, we had a trend back here where we started, from lower right here. Can I turn that on? Thanks. From lower to higher to lower. So we started a higher low trend, right? And that's how you do these. But I also went in and added a whole bunch of the golden pockets over and over again. So like the 3.618, the 4.618, the 5.618, so on and so forth. Which are still in sequence. They're just extensions of the golden pocket. So, which hence trend based fib extension. There you go. If you get into here and look at what we had here on this chart, we had a nice pullback here on the phase 2, 618, rejected off of it, got a little bit of a retest there, and then up it went. Right now, we are above that phase 2 and looking like we're trying to head for the phase 3, but we are getting a little bit of a pullback here. Maybe come back and retest. I'll be watching for a support bounce at the 2.618 at $1.80. If it gets that and it finds support there, we are obviously going to be heading back to the next level, which will be the phase 3 golden pocket at $2.12 sitting there. Let's go take a look at the oscillators and see how they're looking. It does look like we are going to get that little pullback for that test there. We did get a downtrend arrow here on the Oscillator Pro. Also getting that ribbon twist, about to get a flip of the ribbon there in that cloud. We are pretty deep up here in that upper above the 70% range on the RSI Prime. And typically when we see that, we do get little pullbacks to support. Again, that support level, $1.80 there. So that's what I have for Stacks TradeFly. Give us another TA here, and then we're going to go talk it out. And I'm going to try to see if I can get my other camera working so I can show you guys the studio if anybody wants to stick around and watch after that. So
There it is, getting Gucci. Hey, I'll keep this one pretty quick. One, I'll tell you, sometimes the best method or best strategy for TA is KISS, right? Keep it simple, stupid, right? So that's one of the reasons I really love horizontal support and resistance levels, right? You can just go back on the charts, look to the left, and you'll find some of these key areas just because you can look at it. You'll see support, you'll see resistance. We kind of zoom out a little bit just so you can see what I'm talking about here, because we have talked about it a little bit on the show, but here you see support, we'll say maybe a little bit of resistance here, not so much here, but then you have a big breakdown, right? So that's one of the big things I always look for. And then you can see how I found this area. Now, just go back last week, look at the videos, and you will see there was a few areas that I've been looking at for the past probably a week or so. And one of them was here, all right, at 126, right? And this is before I did the Fibonacci retracement. So it actually, when we were talking about it, was in this area. And I was like, hey, we might consolidate in this area. Here's your top, 126. Here's your bottom at, I think it was like 84. Yeah, about 84, 85. So these areas that we've been looking at for probably over a week on Solana. And that was very much me just going back left on the chart and finding support and resistance levels. That's it. That's all I did. But now we tie it into some other things, right? So we look at the Fibonacci retracement. You can see the 382 is starting to line up with that bottom. And then you also have, not too close, but kind of close to your value area high. And then coming down and looking at the RSI, you can see that's kind of starting to trend down and right. Hopefully, we'll start seeing that bend back up. That's kind of what I'm anticipating, especially now that we're coming down to the MVP oscillator and starting to see a bottoming indication on the daily. Now, we can take it in and we can look at a 4-hour and see how does that line up in comparison with the daily, right? You want to start big, go small, and then kind of continue on from there. You will see that the prime oscillator correction, the dynamic reactor has turned red. Not usually the best indication, and you're actually finding a little bit of resistance there. So near term, you're finding a little resistance on the dynamic reactor, as well as the 236, as well as the $95, $94 range. which was another area we were looking at because there was both support and resistance in that area. So we're kind of at I'm not going to say a critical area, but in the terms of near term, this is a pretty important area. You want to see it break. So that's what I'd be looking for here. I'd be looking for some kind of break of this area, come back down, retest. That'll probably be the area you would look for if you want to get back in on a long, but you also want to see the RSI trending up and right, and you want to see MVP oscillators trending up and right as a confirmation. You want to see some kind of confluence to say, okay, this might be a potential area to go long. So that's what I would be looking for there. If we reject, not such a big deal. I still see us finding a little support here and about the 84 to 81 range. Very feasible that we find some support there. So just a quick look at Sol, a couple key areas to look at there. But that's what I got.
Nice, nice. Awesome. Appreciate it, man. Real fast, I had a guy ask about Caspa here, so just let me show you. I actually had a Caspa alert that I had set down here a long time ago, triggered perfectly on the this weekend. I was like, Caspa, like that was way down there. This one cannot be the alert that I think it is, and it was. It absolutely was. Looking right now, guys, that we're going to get this bounce back down here off of the zero line on the Oscillator Pro. We are starting to get red candles that are growing on RSI Prime, and it does look like the signal line is starting to curve back down. If you take a look here on the upper chart, we do have a trend line going here also, downward trend line. If I think that could get some more downside based on what we're seeing on the oscillators, I wouldn't be looking much lower here than this phase 4 618, which is coming in at about 9.5 cents right there. But it could just literally come in here and retest these previous ranges here. Psychological little bounce there, maybe that 10-cent range up to about 10.1 cents. Get that bounce from there, but this trend line, definitely going to be watching this trend line now that's running through here, because once we break that and get a retest on it, then we would be looking at more upside. But right now, looking a little bearish on Caspa. Overall, long term, I'm still very bullish on it, but yeah, that's what I see there on Caspa, guys. Let me go over here and see if I can do this now. I'm going to go to a solo cam. Let's see if that works. There we go. It worked. Cool. And then let's go in and let me grab a camera profile here. And I got to click that. Can I click it, please? Thank you very much. Nope, it's not going to work that way. Come over here and do it. I'm going to do this real fast, try to show you guys this studio. So here we go. iPhone camera. There we go. It's connected. There we go, guys. There is the office. There's my desk right here, my little stand-up desk that I'm working from. And then I've got lights everywhere around the room, got soundproofing everywhere. I can see all the broadcasts right there off of the camera. Right over here, under the blanket, is my production manager. Give 2 thumbs up there, Zach. He's alive. He's just over here working. I keep it cold in here because that vent right there blows right down on my camera and keeps it nice and cold. So, but yes, this is what we're looking at right here, guys, is that green screen, but this whole wall is going to be wood. So, eventually we'll get it all done. But yeah, there's the studio. I just wanted to show you guys that and see what you guys thought. So, disconnect. Yes, disconnect. And let's go back to Trio Cam. There you go. There's a studio. Quick little rundown on the studio for you guys. So
It's coming along, man. Going legit.
Still more work to do on it. Shout out to Crux, who did a bunch of work for me this weekend. And my son, Zach, ZTS Rhythm. I had them both in here. We were just slinging wires everywhere. We put that post on X. Speaking of X, guys, if you guys don't do it yet, you should follow us all on X right there. And check the links below down in the description. We've got a link down there for our TikTok. There's a link down there for Piper Academy X, because every day Crux is pushing stuff out on Piper Academy. And also all of our friends and family that are here in the chat. Jenny from the blockchain, Lunar Beach Crypto, Crypto Trades, Investing Bros. If you guys don't follow any of those guys, go check them out. Go look for them. They have amazing content, and they are the inspiration that keeps me coming back here every day, hanging out with my bros, giving you guys this info right now for the alumni. So, TradeFly OC, you guys got anything to say before we hop out of here?
As always, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you guys listening to me ramble. Hope you guys got something from this episode. If you learned anything, again, as always, like and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter. Love you guys. Get yourself some legendary aviation coffee. There's that shield for the day. Chart Prime. Get your little discount here. Boom. Shill. All right. Check. Over to OC.
So guys, thank you so much. I know I have been having a couple of connection just kidding.
Issues.
That was on.
This time
That was on point.
yeah, connection issues. I got you guys. I know I just can't get this internet guy to come over here and fix it, and the Starlink thing hasn't arrived. So I'm so sorry for that. I'm gonna be trying to just disconnect everything before I go live and see how we can improve it. But guys, thank you so much for being here. You know, guys, that you guys are a great support for us. Thank you so much, and kicking it back to Piper.
Awesome. Hey guys, thanks for
Let's
joining us
go.
today on Piper Academy. We'll be back here tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, bringing you guys the charts, the news, the economics, and everything you need to have knowledge, because knowledge is profit. Thanks for joining us here, guys. We'll check you out tomorrow. Don't forget, this afternoon, be watching on X for me to drop a link. I'll be on Trade Wars. We're going to be there. Come support the alumni. Come join us. Guys, we'll check you out tomorrow morning. Till then, trade safe. And as always, use a stop loss.
That was awesome, dude!